Hello, Joe from Joe K Models here. Alright, so I want to make a quick video of my way of doing panel line washes on 172 scale cockpits. So I've been working on this Curtis P40 Warhawk by Airfix. I'm at a point now where I'm getting into a little bit more of the details of this. So as you can see, I did my interior green with my acrylic Tamiya paints. And then I painted these boxes black. I added a splash of red for some of the buttons and things like that. And then I did a dry brush. And then I sealed everything with this floor gloss, this Pledge Revive It. And what's nice about that is it gives me a nice shiny glossy finish that I can then apply my panel line wash to, and it works really well for that. So again, this is my way of doing it with a 172 size plane. I don't feel like you have to get quite as detailed as something that might be 148 or a larger scale. But for this, I just want to give it a little bit of depth here with I got the black panel line here, and then for the base I'm also going to put a little bit of brown on there to add more of a mud type of effect. But once the plane is finished and you look in there, you're not really going to be able to see too much detail. So if you get the light in there in the right way and you maybe see the shadows, it'll look pretty good. But I wanted to show you how I do it, my way of doing it. So with that, you don't really need too much. Once you have the gloss coat on here, it's pretty much prepped and ready to go. That will actually protect it from the enamel thinners themselves. So I have the acrylic gloss top on there, and then I'm going to be applying these, which are enamel based, on top of that, and then those will flow very nicely with the gloss coat. And then sometimes I like to have this enamel thinner, and what I use that for is sometimes I'll just prep the surface and just put a little bit on there just so that it runs a little bit smoother once the enamel thinner hits that. With the thinner from the paint, it will spread all across there and be really easy to kind of flow into the different spaces there. So I sometimes like to use a brush. These actually come with the brushes built in. If you unscrew this, there's a little brush in there as well. You can just use that, or sometimes I like to use this because once I have the panel line thinner in there, I'll go in there and just kind of brush it in a little bit more and that type of thing. So it's pretty much all you need, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first I'm going to come in with my enamel thinner and just get the area wet here like that. Get it ready. Remember, we have that gloss varnish on there, so we don't have to worry about it eating into the paint or anything like that. Okay, so now we get our black panel line. Now we can just go ahead and add that right in here like this. I'm going to lay it on pretty thick to start off with. Just kind of get that over everything. I forgot to mention too in the list of supplies, cotton bud is also something you'll need here, so you'll see that in a minute. Okay, and now I'm just going to take my brush here and I'm just going to start working at it. Just start moving it around, getting it to fill the different areas. Try and have it collect in the different crevices down in there. And then I like having a paper towel right below me. I can just kind of touch my brush like that and get some of the excess off. I'm just going to keep working it. It's already looking pretty good. Okay, and then you'll have areas that get a little more on there than others. So this is where I like to take the cotton bud, and now I'm just gonna start blending it in. If you have everything ready, you can kind of do all of this at once as opposed to waiting for it to dry and then, you know, re-adding the thinner on there and then brushing it off. I feel like if you have everything ready and you do it at once, it is a little bit less aggressive and you're just kind of working in time with it. Because there have been times where I've waited for it to dry completely and then I have to put a little too much thinner on it to get it to reactivate, and then I end up putting too much on there and then it removes everything. So at least if you're just doing it at the same time, it's a little more natural. Just to kind of show you what the difference looks like. So here's one that I've completed the wash with, and then here's one that I have not. So you can definitely tell the one on the top, it has a darker tone to it. Looks a little grittier, more realistic, and then especially after I put the flat coat on top of there, it's going to really dull it out, make it look even more realistic and less shiny than the one on the bottom. Alright, so next we have the base with the seat here. So same thing, I'm just going to start off by adding my enamel thinner. Just adding the wash. You can see how nice that just flows in there. Remember, it's all about coverage right now. Don't worry about being neat or anything like that. Okay, just start working the areas, and if I have extra, I just kind of unleash it there. Okay, and then this is what it looks like here with the black panel line on there. And then as a finishing touch, I like to add a brown wash in certain areas too. Just because you figure, you know, these planes were operating on islands, and I'm sure their boots were muddy, and you know, these cockpits probably got pretty grimy, so I do like to add that part of it in there. So now I'm just taking the brown panel line, and then I'll just usually add it like inside of the seat and then around in some of these areas here. A little bit more noticeable in the like 148 and up scale, but still like to add it. Sometimes it'll just dry like that and it'll give it a nice kind of look as it dries in. So let me clean up a little bit here. Okay, let's see how that comes out. So one of the nice things about this is you really can't mess up on it, because even if you get a result that you don't like, all you have to do is add some enamel thinner and you can pretty much just wipe all of the panel line right off of that and start all over. So I'll oftentimes come in there and just kind of add a little bit more details. Maybe there's a particular area that I want a little bit more of the panel line on. I'll come in there with the brush and you can kind of dabble with it. But that's pretty much it for this. The only thing that's left to do now is to add the dull coat to this to go ahead and seal all of that in. So let me take care of that now, and let's take a look at the final version. Alright, so here we are. As you can see, these are now dull coat. So good to go on those. And then here is our base with the bit of mud effects on there, and I pretty much just let the brown dry naturally, so that's why it kind of looks a little bit different than the rest of that, but yep, I think we're good to go. So hopefully that helps some of you. Appreciate it. This is Joe from Joe K Models.